Good evening, Hari Om. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's pray together. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya Sahana vavatu Sahanam bhunaktu Sahaviryankara vavahai Tejasvina vadhitamastu ma vedvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord the Almighty, the one who has the divine names as Sahaha, Mahidaraha, to such a omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, magnificent Lord, together with obeisance, Shraddha, Bhakti, and Prapatti, we offer our humble salutations to seek your grace, your love, your mercy, your compassion, your forgiveness, your strength. O Lord, bless us with the divine qualities of Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Prapatti, Mumukshutva, to greater heights, only and only to understand thy true nature, to experience thy true nature right within us, aparokshanubhuti, in this very life and life only. We beseech and humbly pray to you that at the end of our lives we reach thy holy abode. Om Tat Sat. Today, by the grace of the Almighty and the blessings of the Guru Parampara, we are on our Divine Discourse number 351 on the 3rd of October 2023. Shobhanakrit Nama Samvatsara Dakshinayana Varsha Rutu Bhadrapada Masa Krishna Paksha Bhaumavasare Chaturthi Tithau Kritika Nakshatra Vajrayoge Balavakarane. On this auspicious day of Tuesday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all take a firm resolve in our minds. Na ham karta hari preranaya hari prityartham. Whatever is happening to me in my life, be it through a person, place, or an object, every situation, every incident, every happening, every circumstance is only and only at the command of the Almighty. He knows best. And I know that whatever He is sending to me in my life is only and only to uplift me from this ocean of births and deaths. By giving me the right dispassion, vairagya, by giving me the right jnana, supreme knowledge, and by giving me the right circumstance to understand, digest, and experience this knowledge. We offer our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you once again. So, now Lord Krishna is slowly dispelling our doubts, and He's also giving us the right knowledge, how to move forward. So in our last class, what we learnt was that one need not be a sannyasi to gain salvation. Being a karma yogi and being established in that divine knowledge, while we are doing our regular duties, that itself is enough. That knowledge itself is enough to take us towards salvation. When? After we die? No, right here and right now. The moment you have driven away that ignorance, I am not this jiva. Now this knowledge is the privilege of rare few. If you have got it, you are fortunate. If you have experienced it, you are liberated. Getting it is, you are fortunate, you get it. But experience comes only when you understand this. Not even just by listening. Yes, you are at a high, definitely at the highest level. but to understand and experience that knowledge, you are liberated then and there. So one should not have that doubt that where I am not a sannyasi. And as Lord Krishna is telling, first it comes to karma yoga, working with devotion, and then it comes to sanyasa yoga, where you get that knowledge, and then after you get that knowledge, then only I'll be liberated. No. So be it for a karma yogi or you be a sannyasi, as far as you're established in that truth, as far as you understand that there is that supreme reality alone, you don't have to worry. You have to just be in that knowledge and let the body, mind and senses, they work in this world. As per the prarabdha karma of this body, mind, whatever needs to come will keep coming to this. As a jiva. Now you are a witness of the jiva. You are no more the jiva. So you will be observing, okay, now this body is it gets a disease. Yes, it is the prarabdha of this body. It has to experience disease. It has to experience that pain. If it is experiencing financial crisis, yes, it is the prarabdha of the jiva. If it is experiencing richness, bountifulness, it is the prarabdha of this jiva. Now you are not that anywhere. You are not the one in the mirror. You are the one who is standing in front of the mirror. So this disposition has to take place in our minds, and that will drive away the ajnana which is there in our minds. That is the only ajnana point. You are no different from that consciousness. By wrong understanding, we have considered ourselves as this limited entity. So now Lord Krishna takes us further on the same lines in verse number 6. We were able to send you the notes, I think just half an hour before the class, 30-40 minutes before. Wherever you could have just taken a glance, please await those notes. Take a glance so that it will be, you are preparing your mind very well to get the subsequent knowledge, which is in conjunction to what we have learned earlier. So make this a habit. And we will also try to see that we send it a few hours before for your convenience. Now we go to verse 6. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sanyasastu Mahabaho Dukkhamaptumayo Gataha Yoga Yukto Munir Brahma Nachirena Gacchati. I'll try to explain in different ways. Now, a simpler way. Lord Krishna says is karma sanyas, which is a perfect renunciation. It is a sanyas, renunciation. He says it is difficult to attain without working in karma yoga, which is perfect work in devotion. Karma sanyas, perfect renunciation. Karma yoga, perfect work in devotion. So he says you cannot achieve this. You have to first do selfless karma. You have to do karma with devotion to the Lord. So he says this is how the whole structure has been framed. So, O mighty armed Arjun, he says, so you do karma yoga. It is like, yes, you have to take a flight, no? Where are you now? You are in the city. First take a cab or a car to the airport. Then only you can take the flight. Now, if you are a transit passenger, you are already in the airport. Okay, you have come from one city to another city in the country. You are a transit passenger, and now you can move within the airport to catch a flight to wherever you want, maybe abroad, wherever you want to go. So you are not a transit passenger, you are away from the airport. From Karma Yoga, you have to establish yourself, and then you get jnana. Not necessarily that you have to become a sannyasi. To get jnana, paripakvata as a karma yogi is good enough, which we all are now getting. We should be really grateful, thankful, and we should make use of the best now. We are already there. It's like you are in front of your house. You have to just open the door and enter your house. You're not somewhere far. We have to just open the door and get inside. That is our state now. So, now what he tries to say here is, there are some disciplines which are required. You may be a sannyasi. There was a sage who was living in a cave in the Himalayas, a yogi. And you may feel, oh, this yogi staying in a cave in the Himalayas, he has renounced everything. And then they talk about he was an IITian or he was an MBA, he had an MNC job and all that. That's quite common nowadays. He has renounced everything, left the city and gone to the caves. Now this person, let's say there is for some work he comes to the city. After how many years he has come to the city? He has come to the city after 12 years of being in the mountains, in the cave. And I think a better way it should be, say he has come for the Kumbh Mela. Okay. Now, while he was going to take his holy dip in the river in the Kumbh Mela, it so happens that somebody stamps him with their shoes on his barefoot. He's walking barefoot now. Somebody stamps his foot with their shoes, leather shoes. Now this sadhu gets extremely angry, infuriated, and he screams at that person, "Hey madman, are you blind? Can't you see where you're going?" Now the sadhu realizes, he repented. How did I permit my anger to overcome my emotions? 12 years of austerity I had observed in the mountains. It all got washed away by coming in one single day to the city over here. So, staying in the world where you're put to all these kind of traumas and tests, so we don't have to wait for years and years together. He got an opportunity after 12 years because all the time he was in the Himalayas. Now where is he going to test whether he has got anger, whether he has got hatred, whether he has got jealousy, he has got pride? You can't understand that. So being in the world, so now that is what we are fortunate. Every now and then we get a chance to audit ourselves. Situation in the family, situation in the world, situation in various verticals of our life. We get to assess what is anger, what is greed, what is pride. You should be very careful of this shadripos, raga and dvesha. I want, I don't want. When you start monitoring them, you are gradually getting uplifted. So that is the advantage what we have. We should not feel that, I think that life would have been great. So this way, what is required is we need to assess ourselves and just keep doing what we are doing. Let's say there is a tender and an unripe fruit. It is about to get ripe. Now it is clinging to a tree, which is giving all the nutrition to that plant. But the same fruit, when it is fully ripe, it just severs its connection from the plant. You don't have to do anything. Automatically it will fall down. Similarly, from this material existence, we as a karma yogi, we get that experience that matures into Atma Jnana. So you don't have to worry about it. Just keep firm footed wherever we are. Keep doing what we have been doing. Intensify if we can. And the moment we are ripe, as the fruit falls from the tree, from the place where it was sustained all along, in the same way, when that ajnana goes away, we move from the jiva bhava to the paramatma bhava, aikya bhava. So just as sound sleep, to get sound sleep, what is required? You should have worked hard during the day, or you should have done some deep meditation. Then as you get sleep, in the same way, the ones who have done appropriate karma yoga, who have purified their minds through karma yoga, they get a flash of knowledge, and that is enough for them to attain Jivan Mukti. So this is what Lord Krishna is trying to draw our attention to. The sages who are free from malice, free from attachment, steady in their resolve, meaning their decision, what they have taken now. I want salvation. I want to be on the path of liberation. Now that is my primary goal, that is my secondary goal. So Lord says, they are my true devotees, and it will not take much time for them to reach me. This is the assurance what Lord Krishna is giving over here. So now, here he further enumerates what are the qualities of such a sadhak, a true aspirant. What are the qualities? So that becomes easy for us, So like we make a note, and when we cross-check with ourselves. If it is not there, then we try to improve upon it. So the first one, he says, free from malice, ill will, or hatred towards others, jealousy, no negativity in their hearts. So these sadhaks, they cultivate a sense of love and goodwill for all beings. This is the first one, free from malice. Always contented, no expectations. They are free from attachment. They are steady in their resolve, meaning at some point you decide, okay, I'll do, and then again you get back into the world. No, they have decided, and whatever it is, yes, I want to move away from the world, and they keep their journey moving away and away and away and away. Not, move towards away from the world 10 steps and again 15 steps they get into the world. No. So steady in their resolve, and their minds and intellect are dedicated to the Lord. These are the qualities what the Lord is talking. And the Lord says eventually they are ever merged in constant meditation or thought about me. ईश्वर का चिंता मैं करूं, एंड मेरा ईश्वर का चिंतन मैं करूं और मेरा चिंता ईश्वर करे. My job is only to keep thinking about the Lord, and it is the Lord's duty to think of setting things right in my life. That is a true bhakta. I am not bothered about what. I know you are there. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham, he says. He says, vahamyaham, I take personal responsibility. to ensure that everything goes good in your life. And I'm telling you this particular verse, which is in the last chapter. Here the Lord, He so openly says this. I personally will monitor. And it's not once or twice, but it has been several times my personal experience. We really don't have to bother about anything. Whatever, He'll give you a thought. He'll put you on the ride and He will ensure that He does through you or through somebody else. But He will ensure that your safety is taken care. So this verse, it highlights the quality of a true devotee who is selflessly dedicated to the divine, who lives a life of contentment, detachment, and unwavering commitment to the spiritual path. So now what Lord Krishna emphasizes here, He only looks at inner purity, selflessness, and that deep, constant connect. And we don't have to practice something new. Are we not connected to so many things in our life? Some people, like, yes, okay, if you have fallen in love, that boy or that girl, they're constantly thinking of them, the other. And if they meet, they sit for hours together. And after they have departed, then they are on the phone with each other. That is connection. Mother and child, a parent and child. The child's thought is so much on the mother. Whatever duty she is doing, her sight and her thought is on her child. So these are not that we have not experienced in life. So he has that deep connect towards the Lord. So in this way, now if I have to tell you a story, how do I understand these aspects? Now, like whatever we now took as the characteristics of a true sadhak, now let's try to understand those characteristics on a story, like we talk of a devoted gardener. Okay, there is a gardener. In a small, quiet village, there lived a devoted gardener named Raman. Now, Raman had a small but a beautiful garden filled with variety of plants and various flowers, fragrant flowers, good-looking flowers. Now, his garden was known throughout the village and the surrounding villages for its beauty and serenity. Now, here, Raman was very deeply devoted to his garden. He cared for it with that unwavering dedication. He would wake up early in the morning and he used to start taking care of the plants. He used to remove the waste saplings, water them, after taking away the weeds, cleaning the entire place, loosening the soil, and if at any point it's not getting the right sunlight, he used to arrange and see that the plants get right sunrise. Now here, one important aspect was he had no desire of any personal gain nor he was looking for any recognition. See, you may not look for any personal gain, but you're always wondering, yesterday about half a dozen people praised my garden. I think today with some more flowers having come up, now at least a dozen people must praise my garden. No, he had no intention of recognition. He only found that immense joy in nurturing the garden. Now, the villagers used to ask him, how he managed to maintain such a splendid garden. Raman's simple reply was, I don't work on the garden, I work for the garden. He used to say, I see that divine in each and every plant and a flower. It was a bud, completely covered. Before the bud stage, it was just a stem and a branch. And suddenly from the branch comes a small bud It grows to a decent size, and then one fine day it opens up. So he says, I see divinity in every flower and plant, and my actions are my devotion to the beauty of that creation. Now let's apply the formula to the same gardener. We have understood now what all the gardener is doing. Free from malice, we are saying, okay? So he does not harm the plants or does not have any ill will towards them. Like thinking, every day morning I have to give water to these plants. No ill feeling that way. And why should I keep so many? Let me remove some plants so that my work will reduce. No, this is the first one, free from malice, always contented. So what he finds contentment in the very art of taking care of his garden. He is not seeking for recognition over here. Whether people praise or they don't praise, he is always grounded, seeing that divinity within. Now, free from attachment. Raman is not attached to the fruits of his labor also. I am working so hard from morning 5:30 I am in this garden. And he doesn't hoard those flowers or expect anything in return. Now people are praising so much, I can offer to them and get some money out of this. So his attachment is only to the beauty of that creation. And he's steady in that resolve. How is he steady in that resolve? In terms of taking care of the garden. Irrespective of the weather. If it is cold, extremely cold, he's finding it unbearable. He used to wear some warm clothes and work on the garden in the early morning. If it is raining, he used to put a plastic sheet on his head and work in the garden. Irrespective of the weather conditions and personal challenges, Raman, he remained steadfast in his commitment to nurturing the garden. Now, the mind and intellect dedicated to the garden. How? His thoughts and intellect are always for the well-being of his garden. And he understands, now this is nothing but a form of devotion. Ever merged in meditation on the garden? Yes. His thought process, he is doing nothing but meditating on the each and every plant, where and what I should be doing to ensure that it grows well. Because he is seeing divinity in the beauty of the flowers and the harmony of nature. So in this way, now our life, now as we compare that garden, here you have to compare to your workplace. Every plant is like every person we are meeting in life. Every portion of the garden is like every segment of place of interaction in our life. You may be working in an office, so that is one portion of the garden. You may be living in your house, so that is another portion of the garden. You are visiting several places throughout. So these are all, what you can say, several aspects of your life. Now, one of the most important aspects, if we have to really understand, is that God, if you again and again, if you see, I'm purely talking from the point of view of a sadhak. What is difficult as a sadhak? See, now as you advance yourself and you are moving on the path of spiritual knowledge, there are certain areas you say, no? See, when you go to that particular street, there you ensure that you don't go into that lane. Because it could be a one-way or a no entry lane, whatever it is. So you tell them, be careful of that particular lane or that particular turn. In the same way, now doership is one issue which we always face. Now Lord Krishna is going to talk about this in this chapter. I'll now tell you, we'll take a potter's lesson. Okay, a story of a potter. How he was able to explain doership over here and how it impacted in the whole process. So there was a potter known as Rajan, hmm? A very famous potter in a village, and many people knew him for his expertise in pottery. Some students from the nearby city, they come to him as apprentices. Okay, please teach us pottery. Now Rajan agreed and he said, okay, come work under me. And their journey began. Like it was, he said, I will teach you for about a week or so. But here Rajan was very strict, but at the same time he was wise also. So he taught the apprentices how to basically select a clay and how to prepare the clay for making it into a pot. Preparation mean in terms of properly kneading it and mixing it the right amount of water, getting the right amount of stability in it, the shaping, and then eventually after shaping, then you have to bake it. So all this he was teaching the students. Now he was a wise man, as I mentioned. He spoke of one concept, which he says, this is something beyond your technique. What normally you learn, the worldly technique, it is beyond that. What is that? The renunciation of doership. Now, young students who are in their late teens or early 20s, now they are saying, what is this renunciation of doership? So he explained, in pottery and as well as in life, it is important to understand that we are not the sole doer of our actions. Now, soul is very important. We are not the only doer of our action. So, while we shape the clay and put in all the efforts, if the clay itself, it's the clay itself and the wheel that play their roles? No, there is a higher force at work, and that is the force of creation itself. So now what Rajan says is, to illustrate this point, he calls one of the apprentice known as Aryan. Now he tells Aryan, rest of the things excepting this aspect of soul doership, renunciation of doership. So now Rajan, he makes a pot. He prepares a nice vase rather. And he was very meticulous. He looked into each and every detail and he successfully created a beautiful vase. Now Rajan, he turned to another apprentice. Her name was Maya. And he asked her to do the same, but there he gave her this knowledge of doership. So now Rajan again and again told her, do it without the sense of doership. Maya, keeping that in mind, she was a very sharp girl. She started shaping the clay and then first making the clay, shaping the clay into a nice vase, and eventually she baked it. And to everyone's surprise, it turned out even more exquisite than Aryan. It had that natural grace and beauty. And as she was doing the job, like it was like beauty and grace was effortlessly coming out of her hands. Now here Rajan explained, Aryan was attached to the idea that he was the one who was creating this vase. His ego had come in the way. And he forced his will. No, I must get it right over here. I am doing this. I am going to see that I get this result. So he had that sense of doership. Whereas Maya, on the other hand, she had completely renounced, and without the sense of doership, she left her hands to play. She had surrendered to that creative flow and she had allowed that clay to express itself through her. So what do we say? I am that consciousness expressing through this body, mind and senses. I am not this person. So this was that true art of creation. So now what does this story tell us here? It illustrates the concept of renunciation of doership. So in this way, we have to we also get fulfillment and success, but there is no sense of doership. So this is the manner which one needs to move ahead in life as you're working. If you go by these qualities, what we learned over here, which are the true qualities of a sadhak, so you not only do well in your life, as we saw Maya doing an extremely good job, but at the same time, you also get contentment, you also get the sense of satisfaction and good results in life. So, the most important part, what we need to understand here is the aspect of how to work without expectation. So now one was doership, we understood. Another important point which has to come to our mind is how can I work without expectation? Now we're going to really study some extremely intriguing and striking points today, which will definitely help us in our daily life. So one of the aspects is what the Upanishads say is, they give us an idea. They say you replace expectation with another motivator. What is that motivator here? So the universe says, the Upanishads say, the pancha maha yagna. Now, for example, I've taken a loan from you. Okay, I've taken 10,000 rupees loan from you. Now, when I give it back to you, do I have any expectation? No, I had taken money from you and I've given it back to you. So I'm returning your money, isn't it? Now, if I am giving you a donation, what happens? You have an expectation. These people should call me. They should write my name on that board, or they should felicitate me. They should talk about me in front of various people. No? So there is automatically an expectation. But when you are returning something what you have received, as there is no expectation, the Lord says, come, I'll show you how much you owe to the creation. So he says, this pancha maha yagna, to live in harmony within this world, these are the 5 yagnas which have given you the right infrastructure for you to live moment to moment. And whatever we have now, as you see this pancha maha yagna, you will come to know that whatever we have on date, we owe everything to these 5 entities. Now the first one, Pitru Yagna, our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, ancestors. We are born because of them. So whatever knowledge we have got has come from our parents. But now where did our parents get? They got it from their parents. Our grandparents got it from their great-grandparents. So the knowledge, the values in life, the morals, the sacrifices, they all come in this lineage. So now how do we repay this particular debt which we have in life? Is they say, you take care of your parents, you give values to your children, and shape their future, so they also become good human beings and they are of help to the society. So now see, what happens is, you are getting into an act where you are not expecting anything in return. This is the beauty of it. When you know that, yes, I am indebted to my parents, and how I can serve them, I take care of them. I don't have any expectation that they should give me this much money or they should praise me in front of somebody. No, I know that I'm in debt to them and I'm paying their debt. Just like you paid a debt, you don't ask for anything. In the same way you're paying. So you're cultivating the habit of working without expectation. Now the second one comes. Bhuta yagna. Manushya yagna. Where it is society. All the knowledge which we have got today, the food which we are eating, the home which we are living, and the gadgets, the clothes, the transport, all this is coming from the society. If you didn't have carpenters, if you didn't have masons, if you didn't have architects, where will your home come from? If you don't have farmers, where will your food come from? If you didn't have engineers, technicians, where will your gadgets come from? Now the very fact that we are listening to this discourse is because of these gadgets and your clothes. So now the Lord says, give back whatever you can to the society, the Manushya Yajna. In whatever way you can, you give it back. So now again you come to the act of giving back as a debt, no expectation. The third one comes as Prakriti, nature, Bhuta Yajna. Now here, air, water, the food and fruits, now everything nature is giving you. So this Bhuta Yajna, where, how do you give it back? Now, there was a tradition in the olden days. Even now also people do observe. They used to take this rice, those broken rice especially, and make it into fine powder, and they used to put a rangoli in front of their house. It used to give a real beautiful look to the frontage of the house, but at the same time that rice, small powder, was able to feed the insects. So worship the trees, do not waste water, do not pollute the environment, use electricity in a appropriate manner. Now this way you are giving back to the Bhuta Yajna, to the nature. Now the next one comes as Rishi Yajna, Brahma Yajna also they call, which is to your teachers and gurus. All this knowledge which is coming is because of what all our teachers, right from the first standard, kindergarten, school, we have gained that knowledge. We may not remember, but we have got that knowledge. At least have that word of gratitude. If anybody is there, go and pay their respects to them, and you reduce your debt. This is the fourth yajna. See, now by doing all this on a daily basis, what's happening is you are doing a particular act, there is no expectation. Now the last one comes to Ishvara, Deva Yajna, who has given us the very existence and is the reason for our existence today. We ask him so many things. If you are married, you don't have a child, you say, I want a child. Then you say, the child should get admission in a good school. Then you ask for a house, you ask for a car. Then you say, my child has to now he has finished schooling, a good college. Then he should get a good job. Then he should get married. Now all this, you're transacting with the Lord. But this pancha maha yagna, it says, offer all the yagnas, whatever you are doing, to the Lord, and that becomes a Deva Yajna. It is because of you that all the other four have come into existence. Now here if you see, all this which we can never repay to the fullest in our life. So these yajnas are done without expectation, and you are doing it. Yes, it is my duty. It is my debt to be repaid, and we don't even expect any thanks or appreciation or recognition. If a creditor has given you money and you repay it back to him, why will he say thanks to you? If he says thanks, it is his goodness, but it is not. You can't expect the thanks from him. You can't say, Ray, I returned his money. See, he didn't even have the courtesy of saying thanks to me. Why will he say? If he said it is good, as I told you. So this way, this pancha maha yagna teaches us to change our attitude of expectation to what? Attitude of gratitude. I am doing this because I am grateful. First point. And second one is to keep all these activities on a constant basis as a part of my life to ensure that I don't lose on this principle of life. Instead of going to the attitude of expectation from everybody, I change it to attitude of gratitude. Now let's look at some basic qualities in activities in our life. How we can do it on the above basis as karma yoga. A simple example. Now our help at home, a maid, for some reason, say her child has got an admission in a good school, she wanted some money to pay for the fees and for the dress and the books. It's a big expenditure. So she asked the owner in whose house she was working, can I get some 20,000 rupees loan? Now, you as the owner, she is your maid. You gave 20,000. And you tell her, okay, every month I'm going to deduct some 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, whatever it is. You decide with her. And then, now what you expect is, I want her to be more loyal to me, more grateful to me, and she should listen to whatever I tell her without having a grumpy face. Now immediately that expectation will come in our mind. That is a human mind, it's a human psychology. Now when you have this attitude of gratitude, what happens is you change it in your mindset. You say, oh God, I too have children. I too have put them in good schools. And when I wanted money, I didn't have to ask anybody. You were so kind that I was well equipped to pay the fees, to meet the expenses. And this lady is less privileged than me. I am grateful that you have kept me in such a decent position. And because of her, now what is happening is, I can take rest whenever I want to take rest. And I can also pursue a career which I am doing. I go to work and come. So, you take these positive aspects and then change that attitude of expectation to attitude of gratitude. This is, I'm talking at the domestic level at your house. Now, let's look at the place of work. You're always looking at who got a raise, who got a promotion, and you start expecting. Say, Arey, yesterday I worked till 1 o'clock in the night. I prepared all the PPTs what they needed for their meeting today, and my manager, he didn't even tell me a word of thanks. He didn't even express that, oh, so and so did such a good job. He gave me beautiful notes for the meeting. See, now we want recognition, we want appreciation. Now instead of that, change this attitude and say, oh God, I'm thankful that I have a job. First of all. And I'm thankful that my manager, he gave me this assignment. He knows it's an important meeting and he chose me to give him all the notes for that meeting. While doing that job, I am learning new things because he gave me the work. Now, when you change this attitude and feel happy of your situation, what happens? That expectation goes away and you start becoming grateful. And then what one needs to do is, I am so fortunate. Let me see how I can contribute to the society, to the nation building, or to somebody to have a better living. So this way, expectation of gratitude has to be replaced. From expectation, move to gratitude. Now, modern psychology has discovered strong correlation between gratitude and happiness. That's a very interesting subject for us now. Gratitude brings positive emotions. It makes you relish good experiences. It improves your health. It gives you a better capacity to deal adversity in life. And most importantly, it helps you to build strong relationships. So this pancha maha yagna is an ancient technique to build this skill in us. And this is practical karma yoga. See, karma yoga is not a zero-sum game, It is not that all or nothing. It is Lord Krishna, he very clearly, he says in a verse in Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter, 40th verse, he says, how important it is. It is not only we moving towards salvation, but we are also gaining peace and contentment in life. He says, Neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya rayate mahato bhayat. He says, working with that feeling that because of that consciousness, because of that God, I am able to do all this. Now, forget about all this. You have gone to the highest level, no gratitude, no attitude, no expectation, nothing. Whatever is happening in the light of God. So now he says, just with that thought, even if you have to succumb to a loss or an adverse result in your life, he says, such kind of an attitude will save you from that danger. What more you want? This is the advantage. So now, when you stop expecting, then only you can go to that high level, isn't it? So now we'll learn a story on how this reduction in expectation gives us more happiness. Okay. So once upon a time, there was a farmer who was very hardworking and dedicated to his land. So he would get up early in the morning, do his chores, have a meal, and he used to go to the farm and work till late in the night, taking proper care of his crops and his livestock. One year, it so happened that the farmer had a pretty decent good harvest. His crops were bountiful and his livestock was healthy, where the mothers gave birth to, the cows gave birth to calf. Then he had some sheep. So there was an increase in the overall health and the number also. Now the farmer was overjoyed. He felt that all his hard work finally paid off. Now, the next year the farmer had even higher expectation. Oh, last year I worked this much. Now let me increase my hard work to a much higher extent and let me get more. So he was hoping for a better harvest. Now, that year, the weather was not kind to the farmer. There was a drought and the crop failed. So the farmer was devastated. What he had got last year, he didn't even get a quarter portion of that. And he was expecting more than that what he had got last year because he had put in so much effort. He began to question himself and his abilities, constantly thinking about that. Now, in that state of sorrow and depression, he was sitting in the field and thinking about the same thing. An old wise man was passing by. He saw the farmer's face And he knew something was wrong, so he goes to the farmer and said, "Tell me what is wrong." The farmer told him about the failed harvest and about what he got eventually, what he had expected, but what he got. Now, this wise man listened to the farmer patiently and then said, "Son, you have been working too hard for the wrong reasons." See how the wise man told, for the wrong reasons you have been working too hard. You have been working for the sake of the results rather than the sake of the work itself. Now, these are extremely unique words of wisdom, So he continued, when you work for the sake of the results, you are setting yourself up for a disappointment. This is because you do not have control on the results. You can only control your action. You can say, I was working from morning 7 to night 10 o'clock. Now I'm going to work from morning 6 to midnight. You can say that. But when you work for the sake of work itself, you are not attached to the results. You are just simply focused on doing your best. So now this old man's words had a profound impact on the farmer. He was in that depressed state. And whatever this wise man was saying, it was getting into his head. And he understood. Correct. I did more work than last year. The result is not in my hand because there are external factors. So he understood that he had been working too hard for wrong reasons. He had also been so focused only on the result that he had forgotten the entire journey of his hard work. Last year, if I have got, say, 1,000 bags of paddy, I have put in 20% more work. He's doing mathematics there. I should get 1,200 bags of paddy that way. So from that day onwards, the farmer changed his approach to work. He focused on doing his best. And he was enjoying the process of work. He also learned to let go of his expectation. He said, no, I am going to work hard. And I'm going to only see that whether I put in the right amount of work or not. Or was I chatting with my friends? I was going for a smoke. Or I was irresponsible on the field. I am going to only monitor that. And if I have not done anything of that, that day itself was a day of fulfillment. So the next year the farmer had a good harvest, but of course not as good as what he had before, but he was not disappointed. See, here is the fact. That means that knowledge has entered his mind and his heart and he understood. But he knew that he had done his best. So the farmer learned that working without expectations is the key to true happiness. When we don't have expectations, we can focus on the present moment and appreciate the journey. We are also less likely to be disappointed and more likely to be grateful for what we have. This is the crux over here. Now, some important aspects which we need to learn here is, there are some scientific reasons. I was looking for how I can relate this expectation, less expectation and more happiness. Now, here what happens is, when you don't have any expectation, let's say you just don't have any expectation, then the higher dopamine levels, they increase your happiness. Now, how does this work? Dopamine is a hormone. It is a neurotransmitter that plays a role in motivation, reward, and learning in our life. See, the moment we work towards something, it releases that hormone of happiness. Now, when we work without expectation of the result, what happens is we are not attached to any outcome. So, which means You are working with some expectation, and if that hormone is to release on achieving that result, since you have not put any target, what happens? Even if you fail achieving it, the very process of work, it releases the hormones and you are happy on that day, not some other day. But when you put a target, then the brain watches. Oh, you were able to achieve only 50% of what you had thought about, and then only to that extent the hormones are released. So in this way, now this has come it was published in the journal Nature of Neuroscience. They were instructed to work on a task without expectation of reward, and that showed greater activation in the brain regions associated with the dopamine release. So this study also found that the participants were more likely to persevere on the task in the face of difficulty because their mind was open. And similarly, another study published in the journal PLOS1, they found that people who were instructed to focus on the process of working on the task rather than the outcome, that showed greater dopamine release. So this is what Lord Krishna spoke about 5,000 years ago. Now see how it is coming in scientific analysis and experiments. So this suggests that simply focusing on the present moment and enjoying the journey can lead to increased dopamine levels. Now, I am sold with this idea. I want to inculcate or working without expectation for the result in my life. I want this. Give me some tips. Because science is openly telling, I want to buy this. So now, important tips are, focus on the present moment. We have heard this a lot. So now what happens is, when you are working on a task, you are focusing on the steps that you need to take to complete it. Just don't worry about the outcome. I'll tell you, in fact, James Clear is one of the current great writers. Now, he told a very beautiful thing. Now, what he says is, he says there is a goal and a process. He says, I'll read his exact words. I succeeded in a few, but failed in a lot of them. And eventually I began to realize that my results had very little to do with the goals I set, and nearly everything to do with the systems I followed. See how it is correlating. Now, what is the difference between the systems and goals? Goals are about the results you want to achieve, and systems are about the processes that lead to that result. So now what Lord Krishna is telling us is, expectations means goals, results, and living in the present moment, focusing on the present moment means you're focusing on the systems are nothing, which are the processes which lead you to that result. So don't focus on the goal, focus on the system. I have to work on a consistent basis on this aspect. Stop worrying about the result. Only, that is expectation. Just focus on whether what you have to do, you're doing it right or not. And there he gives an example. He says, if you are a coach, let's say, what is your job? What is your target? Your goal might be to win a championship. It could be a cricket championship or a football championship. But your systems is the way you recruit players, you recruit managers, then you recruit your assistant coaches, and how you conduct your practice. Now, these are the systems. So look at the systems, don't look at the World Cup. If you have taken care of the systems, then the goal will fall in place. So that's what he starts his sentence. I succeeded in a few but failed in a lot of them, and eventually I began to realize that my results had very little to do with the goals I set, and nearly everything to do with the systems I followed. So focus on the systems, the procedure, what we have to do on a daily basis. What I have to do in the morning, what I have to do in the afternoon, what I have to do in the evening. That's it. And then second, be grateful for what you have. So take each time out during a day, appreciate the things that you have in life and start being grateful for them. Now this will help you to stay positive and motivated in life. And third, let go of that perfectionism. You think you want to be perfect. It's impossible to be perfect. Be your best. Accept that you will make mistakes and say that I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I don't want to be a perfectionist. And then be kind to yourself. When you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up. Just learn from that mistake and move on. Be kind to yourself. So working without expectation of the result is not always easy, but it is a valuable skill to develop. So if we follow these tips, what we just now learned, then you can learn to work without expectation and experience many results that these steps have got to offer us. So now see how these things play such an important role in our life. Now, one of the, as we are discussing on this, I'll just tell you like how to also increase the dopamine levels. Here, one is, if you don't expect, you're working on a continuous basis. So every day you will be scoring 100 because you're putting your best at work. And since you have not put a target that I must achieve this, so there is no loss of dopamine coming to you. So that is one way, no expectation, you got it. But other benefits of increasing dopamine are exercise regularly. That overall keeps your dopamine levels higher and it improves your mood also. Then have a healthy diet, which is rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts. That also increases dopamine levels. Then get enough sleep. Never bargain with your sleep. And never try to say that, no, I can do with just 5 hours or 6 hours of sleep. No. Give your body the adequate amount of sleep. Because when you don't get enough sleep, your dopamine levels, they automatically decrease. Then spend time with your loved ones. That releases that dopamine. That's why when you see a loved one, immediately you feel happy. How? The moment you see your loved one, the dopamine releases in your body. And then another important clue is challenge yourself. Meaning, I want to learn new things. I want to do new things. So in this way, you move from a low dopamine producing system, you're taking your body now to a high dopamine producing method, and you will feel happy. So these are all the techniques what one has in life, and we need to cultivate them and see that we remain contented, happy, and progressing on the path of fulfillment. This is extremely important. We should not lose our track and goal. Primary and secondary goal is reaching the feet of the Almighty. Krishna Arpanamastu. Now we Take the Vishnu Sahasranama, number 40, shloka number 40, and the two divine names, Saha and Mahidaraha. First, let's chant the shloka. Viksharo rohito margo heturdamodara saha Mahidaro mahabhago vegavan mitashanaha. 368. Saha, all enduring. The Lord is one who has patience at everything and is one who readily forgives all the defaults of his sincere devotees. See, even if we make a mistake, we are under a special category. He ignores our mistakes. Sahaha. 369. Mahidaraha. The supporter or the bearer of this earth. Since he is the very essence in the universe as its material cause, he is the one who supports all forms in the universe. The Lord supports the world just as gold supports the ornaments, as cotton supports the cloth, as ocean supports the waves. So to each and every jiva, to us he is the supporter. Mahidaraha. To such an Almighty, we offer our humble salutations and seek His grace, blessings. Now, let's chant the Dhanvantari mantra 3 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutagalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Our sincere salutations to Lord Dhanvantari to give us the right and requisite amount of health till we realize the supreme knowledge. Om Tat Sat. Now let's do the Sakshatkara Siddhi Yoga Dhyana, doing the pranayam on a basis of 1:4:2, and then we do the Sakshi Bhava meditation. Observing your mind as an object and observing the thoughts in one's mind. Please do your pranayam. Now slowly bring your attention on your mind and the thoughts in your mind. Without being judgmental, observe the thoughts passing on. Number of thoughts slowly reducing. The thoughts are in the mind, and you are the witness of the mind. Slowly bring your attention to the prana shakti. Observe the prana going in and out. Become aware of yourself. Become aware of your surroundings. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम तत्सत्। श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। Slowly rub your palm, place them on your eyes, gently and lovingly open your eyes. Together we offer today's Gita Gnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord to seek His grace, mercy, blessings and love. Naham karta hari preranaya hari prityarth. Shri Krishna arpanamastu. Idam namama. Om Tatsat. Good evening to all of you once again. So till we meet next, please keep doing your sadhana. And we are not doing anything. It is the Lord who is doing everything. And He is the motivator. He is the doer. And He is the ultimate. So let us live with that knowledge to the core. Shubharatri. Shri Krishna arpanamastu.